it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Call me Cardi B, I run this shit like cardio.
Oh my God.
You excited about turning 100? What are you most excited about?
Well, it's too much going on.
Okay. That's Miss Vanilla Bean.
God bless her.
She is a legend here, okay? She's a legend in the D.C. area. For anybody who is from the Washington area, you know about the legendary hat maker. She is a master milliner, and she is turning 100. Woo-hoo! And she is still going strong. And she talks about, there's a lot going on because she told me she is overwhelmed. They got a whole week of Miss Vanilla Bean planned. The mayor's taking her out to tea. She's visiting the White House. And it is so motivating to sit there and look at someone who is about to turn 100 years old, who is still bringing it every single day. She was, we met at her shop that's been there since the early 70s. And
she's still in there.
She was working.
Wow.
She had made a hat before I got there.
Oh my goodness.
She showed me the hat she made. And then, I had to put a hat on. And look forward to sharing that story on Fox 5 as well as on here.
Yes.
The Oh My Goff Show. Meanwhile, we are back from Labor Day weekend.
Woohoo!
And we survived.
Yes.
And we also tested out one of Robert's new birthday gifts. Y'all ready to rock? Kids?
Kids, friend, anyone?
Adora Bob? Who won't follow me? Like you don't follow me. Because even in I can see a lot of me. And honestly, I'm honored because it should be comedy. You wouldn't believe no friends, but I see you proud of me. I'm now realize you know she got it lit. Hot girl summer, so you know she got it lit. Yeah. How did you? Of course. 2.5 hours of this. Baby Shark all the way down to Massanutten. It was delightful.
Daddy Shark, Mommy Shark, Sister Shark, Brother Shark.
I don't know if she's ever going to grow out of that stage, but a whole lot of fun. I fully endorse the carpool karaoke.
Yes.
It's better than putting the kids on the iPad, right?
Exactly.
On the way down. But we had a great time. More importantly, glad to see you here.
Yes, still alive and safe.
No calls from the penitentiary, from the jail. No need to get some bond money. No arrest.
No need to help me clean up the house, hide some things. No, yeah. It was a good weekend. I held it down in the house with Bougie Butta and Coco, the two dogs. Had some R&R. Popped a lot of Bel Air this weekend too, because end of summer, I got to make sure you celebrate. I'm here. I'm growing on up, Angie.
You're not growing up. You glowing up. It's September.
It's a famine of beauty. It's a famine of beauty, honey.
Andre Talley, barely surviving the September issue. Remember that documentary? That was such a good documentary.
Yes.
Winter is coming. I mean, winter was coming before winter was coming, really,
Yes.
with the September issue. And for anybody who is into the magazine world, the fashion world, then you know that September is the January of fashion. That's when they put out their big editions. I think the September issue actually weighs in at like 5 pounds, something ridiculous for Vogue, which is kind of like the gold standard. Now, Washingtonian, which is it's a staple here in the Washington area when it comes to publications. And every year, it's not a fashion magazine, but every year in September, they release their annual list of style setters. And this is a handful of people that they choose that they think is, exemplifying their own personal style and their fashion are, I don't want to say an influencer, but I honestly
Trendsetter.
I don't know what they look at, because the fact that they asked me to be in it, I didn't know what to say, because I was like, have you seen how I dress? When you have
Give yourself some credit, girl. You know you fly. We just had a whole episode last week about this.
I know. You're right. But what I do love is that they actually celebrated the fact that my favorite piece, my favorite fashion piece, and they printed it, was my compression socks. And they actually called for clarification. They were like, what kind of socks? And I'm like, oh. I was like, it's so cutting edge.
Medical compression.
I was like, have you seen, as seen on TV, the copper socks? Like 2 pairs for buy one, get one.
And she's not lying. She really does wear them.
There's another follow-up question. It's like, so why again is, this like your favorite piece? And I'm like, I was like, well, the truth isn't pretty, but I'm on my feet all day, and that's what I look forward to putting on at the end of the day because they feel so damn good.
Right.
And listen, since we posted and you were looking at the September issue, it's come out. There's 5 of us that are featured from the Washington area. And I do love the diversity of people.
This beautiful dress, though, as we're looking right now. I mean, this is a gorgeous number, Angie. Matched perfectly with the purse. Where did you get that number from?
Well, I'm all about a good story. And this is actually one of my mom's dresses. A silk number. That looking at a picture of her, this was like almost 40 years ago, her and my dad, her and St. Ren.
Wow, look at her.
They haven't changed a bit.
Man, you are your mother's daughter for sure.
Well, thank
Just
you.
Alike.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yes, Mama Chin, getting it.
I know, right? Mama Chin is so proud, and she's wondering why she was not in the magazine, by the way. But there's always next year, Chin. But look at these other pictures of my mom. I mean, growing up, I idolized my mother. I remember just sitting there and staring at her. She used to have this long, long black hair. And I would watch her just brush it. And I thought, there was nobody in the world that was more beautiful than my mother. As I got older, and, she's, I probably get my hoarding from her. I think it was passed down. So as I got older, I realized she still had some of these items, and she gave them to me, and I wear them. And the shoulder pads, it's old. Like I had to safety pin the shoulder pads back in.
Oh wow!
And but I just love it. And I mentioned how I hope to pass this on to Adora. And when Adora read it in the magazine, she goes, "Mom, you're the best," and she gave me a kiss.
Aww.
And I just love that. And it just goes to show you that clothes can be so much more than what you dress your body with when there's special meaning. And as I get older, I realize, wow, yeah, just like what we talked about last week, like you don't need all this excess. You just need things that really do make you feel good and bring you joy and have special meaning. And so Chin was very, very pleased with it. And so, but anyways, Washingtonian, great crew. They're outstanding. Thank you so much. Dean Alexander, the photographer, was absolutely fabulous. Honored to actually have him shoot me because, this is a guy that's like done stuff with Helen Mirren.
Oh, this is legit.
And like, yeah, it's kind of intimidating going in there and like, that's why I was scratching my head. I did whatever he told me. I was like, what do you want? So I'm at your disposal. But yeah, they were great. Amy Moeller. The whole team was fantastic. And it was really fun to be a part of. So thank you for that. Get your edition of Washingtonian, the September issue, now. Out on stands now. Or you can go, of course, online and check it out as well. Speaking of fashionistas, our next guest is someone that we have been waiting to see for a very long time. And she's this week's Awakening. Recently, I had the chance to sit down with a former colleague of mine, a woman who really epitomizes knowing your worth and walking away from something good because you have so much confidence and you have so much belief in yourself that you are willing to bet on yourself. It's about time. We have been waiting to see Tamron Hall take that stage, and we talked to her right before she launched her new talk show. It is so good to see you. You look like a ray of sunshine. How are you feeling?
I feel phenomenal. I think I'm a ray of sunshine because, I always tell myself, when you're tired, wear the brightest color that you have in the closet, and then no one will notice. My son Moses last night, we're changing milks. We've been on a cow's milk, and now we're going to something else because he has a sensitive stomach all of a sudden. And so last night it was a party in our house of a different kind.
I bet. And becoming a mama shark, what has that been like?
It's been so fun. You know what? Even though last night I was saying, okay, please let me figure out this milk situation. I'm like almost in tears. It's just been, I have no complaints. We waited so long. It was something I never thought was going to happen. So even when he is peeing across the room. I'm embracing all of it.
I know
no
you
complaints
are,
from
yes,
me.
right? And it's funny how it just changes your perspective about everything. I tell people, I'm like, oh, I'm going to see Tamron. They're like, wait, isn't that the woman that just all of a sudden was pregnant on Instagram?
Well, no one all of a sudden gets pregnant. But
No,
yes, I did.
yes, yeah. I mean, because you waited a long time to
Yeah.
share this great news
Yeah.
with the world,
Yeah.
and it's not because you just wanted to keep it a secret from everyone.
You know what? Listen, it was twofold. Obviously, I kept my marriage private. And I tell people all the time, people mistake privacy for secrecy. And it wasn't a secret. My husband and I live in the same house. We go everywhere together. But we're both, interestingly, very private when it comes to our family. And I knew that because we had a new marriage, it was important to lay a foundation down. You've been in television a long time. We're very fortunate to have people who are fans of ours. And I wanted to grow this marriage before I said, hey, here's what's going on in my life. As it relates to my pregnancy, I was a high-risk pregnancy. We had a lot of complications in the past. And I did not know if this was going to turn into the happy ending that we're all celebrating right now. And I wasn't emotionally prepared, honestly, if it didn't happen. So I waited. My doctor thought it was best for us to wait to 32 weeks, and we waited, and then woke up that morning, and I was just happy to share the news.
You were dancing, and we were feeling it.
I don't know if I was dancing with that belly. The belly was dancing. I was standing there. It was like a Jello ball.
Oh, you looked beautiful. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, I was in Starbucks. I texted Brittany. I texted everybody I know. And I wrote, I was like, this is your year.
Oh, thank
this is your year because you have this wonderful blessing, baby Moses. Yeah. You also have this other baby of a different kind. and we all know in TV that a lot of times people look at people like you and they think it's easy, you know, that it happens overnight, but there's, like the news that we report, there's always a story behind the story.
100%. Listen, I tell people all the time, we wake up and no matter what you do for a living, you put on a mask. You get up and you pretend that, okay, I'm okay with this particular job that day, or I'm okay with something that happened at home, and you're hiding the struggles, you're hiding that, okay, the number on the bank account is not matching the number of the bills that are coming in, and we armor up in life. And for me, yes, I've had a wonderful life as it relates to my career. I've worked since I was 14 years old. My first job was Toys R Us in the plush animal section.
You're looking at Chuck E. Cheese. I was Chucky, okay?
Oh, well,
I know.
I thank God I wasn't Jeffrey the giraffe, but I did work on the aisle where we sold the Jeffrey doll. And so you work very hard and you put on a mask and you continue, but none of us know what's happening on the other side until we open up and share. And so when I left my previous job, I had to decide, am I going to share this journey? Am I going to be embarrassed because I have been replaced? Am I going to be, angry about it? And I was none of those things. I learned, and I learned the most important lesson in life, no matter what it is, you got to get back up. The mat is always there, but you don't have to stay on the mat. And I was on the mat. I can't lie. I was just like, wait a minute. I've put in all of this work my entire career, and now I have to reset at 46 years old in a career that I'd invested 25 years in. And that's okay. So for me, yeah, of course, we look at celebrities all the time and you think, oh my gosh, look at them all in Saint-Tropez. But you know what I mean?
Right?
There's a backstory. And we are so quick, and I say we, I mean all of us, you're quick to look at the end of the book and not what it took to build that life.
Right.
And whatever it is you do and whatever you're doing right now, it took steps to get there. And so that's much of what's happened to me, and that's much of what we're going to bring to our show. We're going to peel back some of those masks so we can learn from each other.
But walking away, that was taking a risk. And when I remember they would ask me when I was at NBC, what's Tamron going to do? How could she walk away? And I was like, you know what? That's a woman who knows her worth.
Listen,
But I also know
appreciate
that it's still, we're human, right?
Yeah.
And when you work your whole life for something and have to work, that's a hard decision.
It is hard, but I'll tell you, Angie, listen, at the time, I wasn't married. I didn't have my son. My father passed away 10 years prior. Basically, the first year I'd moved from Chicago to New York, my dad passed away, and my mother was suddenly a widow. If I'd been faced with the same situation, I could not have left because my mother needed me. I needed my stability. I needed to be able to have the flexibility to go take care of her. So at the time I was faced with the decision of what I would do next, I didn't have some of the responsibilities. So when people say, yeah, you walk, listen, I get it every day. Somebody is going to a job they don't feel appreciated in. They're in a relationship you don't feel appreciated in. It's not always easy just to pick up and walk away. That was my opening, and I recognize that, but I didn't always have that opening. And that's what I want to share with people, and that's what I know you talk about. And really, when we're in our conversations with our girlfriends at brunch or on the phone, and when we're in our most keeping it real moment, we're going to say to each other, girl, listen, I'd love to leave, but I cannot. And these are the realities of life. So for me, you know, I was so grateful for people rooting me on, and that's what got me going, and that's what went into us creating this show. I knew that my place was back on television, but I knew it had to be the right way. And I wanted people to be proud of my return. I wanted them to root for my return as much as they rooted for me to get up off the mat.
When you can show the vulnerability that you can lean on them and that you need them too as well. I mean, that
can't
speaks
do it
volumes.
alone. You know, when people say, oh yeah, well, it's the Tamron Hall show. I'm like, my name is on the show, but please believe I'm able to get out of that boat and try to walk on water because of the people who are lifting me up.
I know, you're treating everybody like a co-host.
They are. They are. They're my family.
What's your biggest regret?
I have none.
Really?
No.
None at all?
I have no regrets.
Biggest piece of advice?
Oh my gosh. You know what? Surround yourself with people who will always be honest with you. You know, I think that especially as you succeed in life, it's easy to have people around who will say, that's great, that's wonderful. I want the friends who call me and say, that was a terrible question. That sucked. And that dress is awful too. What are you thinking?
I almost blocked Chin. I was like, stop calling me after every show. She's like, that's a nice dress for dinner.
Well, your mother calls you after the show. My mother texts me during the show, and she affectionately calls me Miss Hall, which says a lot about us. But she's like, Miss Hall, that lipstick is terrible. I'm like, oh, thank you, Mom.
She does. I love your Instagram account because I always find words of faith. And I know in television we don't talk about our faith a lot on TV.
For me, I talk about my faith openly, not to try to change anyone, but to be my authentic self. And I think if you are your authentic self and you're able to talk about your faith, if you are able to talk about the difficulties at work and in your relationship, and talk about the good things too, because it doesn't all have to be trials and tribulations.
No.
People see you for the real person you are.
Realizing that you could be who Tamron is, your authentic self, especially in an industry where they tell you to be real, but there's always
They
guidelines.
don't always mean it. But it's a work in progress. I'll tell you, partnering with the stations that are carrying our show, I can tell you pretty much one for one, all of them were taking a risk on me. I am not an internationally known person. I'm a person who was on a very big show. The show was famous and is well known. I was not. I was the fourth character on an ensemble. And every station took a risk because I think that they saw and see an opening in daytime television for us to be real. And I think that that's a big part of it. But for me, you know, it's an everyday experience. You know, I read self-help books like anyone else. I read the quotes from my church like anyone else.
I get Oprah magazine every month.
Listen, anything
Read
Oprah
in my
says,
car.
I'm like, hallelujah, preach, oh, preach. You know, it's a daily journey to realize that I'm good enough the way I am, and I'm growing every day. But I think the biggest key, Angie, is also letting other people know that they are good enough. We focus so much on ourselves and our work and doing the work to make us a better person. But we have to turn to others to say, you are also okay, and I love you for who you are, and we're all going to grow together.
Have you slowed down at all?
One of the things I look back at is I didn't stop to smell the roses. I was always looking at the next garden. I was like, okay, I'm a reporter with my first big job at 18. Now I'm 21. I want to be an anchor. Now I'm 25. I want to be at the national news level. So I was always, you know, looking at the next garden and what I was going to plant next, and I was never present in smelling the roses. So when I took off those 2 years, I was able to look back at my career and say, these are the things that I succeeded at, and these are the things I want to do. And then when I had Moses, in the whole few weeks that he's been in my life, he's made me slow down, because when I am feeding him, I'm on his time.
Right.
When I am burping him, I'm on his time. I do think that the lessons I've learned over the 2 years are why I'm so calm now. You know, people say, oh my gosh, you got a new husband, a baby, and you're promoting the show. How are you so calm? I have a phenomenal team of people supporting me with Disney Studios and all of our networks that are carrying the show. But I also I have, I guess, the confidence now to know that I don't have to keep my foot pressed on the gas for the car to go.
What do you have in store for us this fall? What are you so excited about?
First of all, I feel like a caged, crazy woman. I'm ready to, my family's like, please get her a job, get her out of here. We want this woman gone. I'm ready to walk down the street and everyone's like, oh my God, the show was good yesterday, or I didn't like that time. You should do this. I miss our audience. I miss the people who watch us every day, who watch your career grow and watch my career. I can't wait to meet new friends who will be fans, I hope, of the show. Yeah. So basically, I'm like busting at the seams. I'm ready.
Isn't it so great to have her back on TV? I really hope the show takes off.
I really think it will. I mean, she's so open and truly genuine. I mean, such an inspiring woman. Very sweet woman as well. That was my first time meeting her, and I just couldn't be more proud of her.
And she works hard.
Definitely
She works hard. And I think having little Moses, little
So
baby
cute.
Moses,
Yes.
has given her a whole new perspective on a lot of things.
Yes.
You know, and I've worked with her in the past. And, you know, when I used to go up to New York and I would do stuff with the network, and I've been on her show. And I will tell you, I mean, I was just very, very impressed because she is whip smart. She has everything upstairs, but she's also, you know, very relatable. And I think the thing about Tamron is, and I've always said this, is there's a lot of people that can do good TV. There's a lot of talented people out there that can tell a story, that can do an interview, that can even, you know, pretend it, that can even fake it till they make it. But the one thing about Tamron is that she does have a little quirkiness about her. And I always, the people I tend to be drawn to, it's more than just being relatable. It's more like I walk away learning something new, whether it's like a funny catchphrase or, and I just felt like she always added that when she was on television. Like she used her real life moments, and like her Texas came out in her, and she didn't really try to be anybody else. She was unapologetic about who she was and the things that she likes. And so I just think that this is going to be really, really good TV. And we are wishing you the best, Tam.
Yes,
okay?
girl.
We're all about the Tam Cam. And we want to get up to New York and visit you on your set. Hopefully you and Wendy, we're going to come hang out.
Yes. How you doing?
Welcome back. You know what that sound means?
Back to school time.
Class is back in session, and the kids are back to school. And we had a pretty sweet start.
I know the kids are excited to be back to school, Angie.
They are, and I feel like this is going to be a good year. Anything will be better than the start of the school year last year.
You want to tell them what happened really quick?
Bob is back on the bus for now, and we think that this might be the year. This might be the year that he's ready. And for those of you who don't follow the IG stories and didn't follow the saga from last year, Bob is a legend. When already kindergarten, he was a legend within 1.5 weeks of being at school.
Gemini problems.
Yeah, he
We're quite quirky.
He just, it's a newfound freedom when you're on the bus and you got someone driving it that can't come down and lay the smack down. And so I just remember, you know, I went to go pick him up, and their favorite song at the time was Pitbull's Fireball. And so I have my iPhone on blast playing Fireball. So I show up to the bus stop, and I see the bus coming on. I'm like, dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Excited to get the kids off the bus. Right.
Dun, 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 dun. Kids are coming off the bus. I'm like, dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun. And then I see Adora. Dun, dun. And then this is what I see. This is what I see. This is Adora with a shoe. Bob is in trouble. Oh, Bob. And then I realize, dun, dun, dun. And then I turn, goes off. And I'm like, there's more kids, but there's no Bob. Then I look up and I was like, wait, Bob's sitting in the front seat looking right at me. I go up there. I get on the bus. His entire bag has been gutted. He poured his whole bag out on the floor. He has one shoe on, by the way, because Dora has the other one. Come to find out, the shoe is the least of my problems. I said, what's going on here? And the bus driver's like, oh, he threw someone's bag off the bus.
Out the window.
Out the window of a moving bus. He threw a backpack out the window. And then he didn't stop there. He threw his shoe off the moving bus, out the window of the moving bus. which explains why he had only one shoe with him. And but they were able to retrieve it, which is, I guess, the shoe that Adora was carrying as evidence. And so that was the start of it. And then there was a couple more incidents, and we just figured, he was not ready. But This is a new year, and so far, Bob is doing great. It's all about maturity. He's a first grader.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to it. So crucial key, don't throw book bags out the window of a moving bus.
Yes, please don't.
And good luck to all the kids out there.
Yes, on that note.
All right, well, we got to get out of here.
Those who've been asking, because we've been getting a lot of that, Angie, on our Instagram page in particular, about the face shirt that you wore recently for Robert's birthday. All you got to do is go to Fave Things on ohmygoff.com to check out our storefront. You can get that item along with many others that you can check out as well that you see on the set or within the Fam 5 household.
Yes, but Robert is not giving you permission to use his face on your shirt.
Looking forward to next week's episode.
Oh, yeah, we're doing a little investigative reporting. We're finding out, is there still sex in the city? We out!
Do that, she don't fist bump back.
I was trying to grab your hand and show love.